Right, this page. So I can put the address of this into the chat so that you can all get hold of it easily. I think that'd probably be the quickest way to do that. Chat, here we go. I'm going to try to send this to everyone. There we go. There, you should have a link in your chat now to the this page with the training material. There was a question from Heather in the. I'll share that question with everybody if you don't mind, because it's an interesting question. It was about the template for the training material. Heather was asking if an organization should use the template for preparing the training material. Yes, we can certainly give you the training template, and it explain to you how to use it if you want to use that. However, if you have some material you'd like to offer for training material, and you don't want to use the template, then we could, the association, we could bash it into form and put it into the template form. However, I think generally it's a good idea to at least be familiar with the template, so to know, so you know how we like to get things to work, how to format things for the training material to make sure it works as well as possible. Hope I've answered your question, Heather. So let's have a look at this online material. This is going to be available throughout the conference here. And basically you have a list here of, let's see how many, I haven't counted them actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 modules from the catalog. These are all in English. If I have time during this week, I'll try to post some material in other languages as well. We have some in Portuguese, some in Spanish, and of course there's quite a lot of post-production work involved in putting this online, and so it takes a little while to do, but if with luck I'll have time to put some more up for you that I can share with you. Anyway, it's quite simple to use. There's a handout, and I'll show you that first. There's a little link here at the end of each one, which gives you the list of slides. So let's have a look at this one, this handout here. I hope you can see that. This is this has a list of slides. It's designed for use during the classroom, so you can take notes easily with each slide. And if you're attending a physical seminar, this is handed out at the beginning of each course so that you can fill in the material and take notes as you're going along. It's meant to be easy to use in that way. So each of these modules has the handout, and it's a good idea to print it out if you're going to follow one of these modules to use for taking notes. There are some exercises and things, and they're much easier to do if you have the handout available and something to be able to write on it. And if you click on one of these links, it will open up directly a presentation. I'm going to try doing that now, and we'll see if it shares. Here's one from, let's try one with, yes, let's try this one about photographing objects for inventory from Bill Mueller. You probably can't hear it, but there is a soundtrack with this, which explains what's going on. And you can skip forward by clicking on these buttons or backwards. So I can click here and advance, and so on. And you can also pause, usually. I think there's a, oh, there isn't one with this one. Some of them have a pause button in the middle, so you can stop and come back. Anyway, there is a soundtrack to this. I'm afraid you won't be able to hear it because I think the sound sharing of multimedia sound is not switched on. It's possible to follow that, and there are some. I don't know if there's any exercises in this particular module. Probably not. Let's try another one. This one is from about the. Yes, this one's got the pause button in the middle. So, and this is one of the advanced classes. All of the modules start off with a mention of the prerequisites, what you're aiming to do, the objectives, and what you should have completed or what you should know already in order to be able to benefit. I see Laura's asking if there are some modules available in Spanish. Yes, there are some in Spanish. I haven't had time to put them together yet, to put them online, but that's one of the things I'm hoping to do this week is to get some material online available for you in Spanish. These are, by the way, I should say this is the same training material that's available in English, but with delivered by in Spanish by a Spanish speaker. So gives you an idea of what we have. Has anybody, if you try clicking on some of the links, I'd be interested to know if it works for you. That would be very good. If somebody could, if you could try clicking on the link that I sent in the chat and opening up one of the modules or one or another to see if you can hear something. Have a go and let me know.
Yes.
Yeah, it does work. I've tried it and it does work. I do have a question as well.
Please, yes, go ahead.
Right, so it's related to the loss of the tutorials or the trainings here. So CIDOC CRM is used in a bunch of softwares and archaeological systems. One of them is named Ashes. I don't know, it's supported by Giri Foundation. And I was just wondering if there's something specific towards training people who are responsible for designing resource models and systems within Ashes on how to use the CRM. I can see that you've got one of these, but I've looked at it now and I was just wondering if there's something that goes a little bit deeper, maybe hands-on and trying to how to build experience with that, because sometimes the CRM is just quite confusing for people who start working with it. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, it suggests that maybe we need to go and have a 500 level module on, or some more training on the CIDOC conceptual reference model. We've actually got two modules about the reference model. One is it's a very easy introduction. It's for people who are, when they see the ontology, are people who are petrified. Not everybody is at ease with it, and so we have a module which is an introduction, a very easy, try to make things as smooth and as easy as possible for the people who are scared, looking at the CIDOC CRM, and it can look pretty scary. I mean, the first time people see it, they think it looks pretty frightening. It's big, there's a lot of detail, and it's not at all clear that it's what's going on. So there is a very easy introduction. The 400 level module is given here, the one you can see at the bottom of the screen. That's given by Stephen Stead, and that's it's an introduction for somebody who, it's really for people who know about ontologies but don't know the CIDOC ontology. And so it's not the sort of thing that you're looking for, which is really specific to a particular application. I'd suggest actually that you need to contact the CRM SIG, the Special Interest Group, because they actually have some training material that's specific to different applications. And it's not part of the CIDOC training because it's very specific to the CIDOC CRM. But that probably would be the best place I'd suggest to get something that's really the sort of level that you're looking for. However, maybe we could persuade somebody, Steve Stead perhaps, or somebody else to come back and take the CIDOC CRM a step further and to go into more detail.
Yes, please. I think if you could do that, that would be fantastic, because at the moment there are quite a few projects that are just starting working with Ashes, and definitely they do need a lot of help with the CRM. So there will be a lot of demand coming towards this particular point in the upcoming few months and years.
Okay, well, I've been, I was originally one of the authors of the CIDOC CRM when it started out years ago. I've not been quite so involved recently, but I know the people who are running the special interest group very well, so I can ask them if they've got any suggestions about how we might go take things a bit further and go deeper into the CIDOC CRM. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions about the material here? I think there's another question in the chat. It seems that you're not having any trouble getting it to work, at least. That's a good thing. That's a relief. I should point out something maybe that might interest you about the technical aspect of these presentations. They've all been prepared with PowerPoint, but we deliberately have not produced them as video. That's partly because in some areas of the world, people are working with a very, very restricted bandwidth. The way this works actually is that it's a series of, there's just a sound file and an image for each slide. So it's this solution works with very, very restricted bandwidth. To give you an idea, I even tried it using a phone when I was abroad, traveling in a taxi cab, using a very low quality 3G connection from my phone, and I was able to follow one of the presentations without any trouble. It's designed to work anywhere in the world, even if you've only got a very limited a dial-up connection. You should be able to watch these presentations. So that's why we haven't made them available as, say, video recording, because that we've found that just for some people that's just not possible. We may revisit that in the future if the internet, if some company manages to finally get lots and lots of satellites up and the world is flooded with high quality internet, then perhaps we won't need to do this anymore and everybody will be able to watch high quality video. But at the moment we're sticking to this low bandwidth solution. So I hope that it seems that it works for all of you. So that's a good thing. Yes, any other questions about language, material you'd like to have? I heard a click. Somebody wants to say something.
I wanted to ask about the certified student program. I'm well aware that it's very difficult to travel nowadays, but I would like to know if there are some estimated schedule that CIDOC might be thinking of to perhaps students abroad go ahead and take the certified course, because you mentioned something like 14 modules, and I'm not sure that's truly like in a week or so, but just to have an idea.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I can explain that a little bit more. The certificate that Marianne is referring to is the certificate of proficiency, and to get that, you have to complete 14 modules. Some of them are introductory modules, and some of them are more advanced ones. And one thing that you have to do is the written work. So that's a requirement. That's obligatory. You can find some more details about this online, about exactly what the requirements are to get the certificate of proficiency. That certificate is issued by CIDOC on behalf of ICOM, I mean, it's actually the CIDOC Training Association that will send you your certificate, but it's something that's recognized by ICOM. And so it's a nice thing to have on your CV if you're a documentation specialist. To complete those 14 modules, if you come along to one, say, and this is just as an example, you could come along to one of the training sessions that's organized in somewhere, say in Lausanne or in your institution or somewhere, and that during the week normally we would cover 7 or 8 modules, and that would give you a good, at least half of the material. And it's then possible either to go to a second workshop somewhere else. That's what Jan did, for instance, Jan Berend, or to complete the material online. And that's a possibility. At the moment, there is not enough material online for somebody to do everything completely online, but that might change in the future if I can get enough material available, make enough material available so that all the requirements can be covered online. That's something we're working on. And I think in the current circumstances, obviously, it's probably a good idea if we can make more of the material online, or at least as much as possible. So basically, I can imagine your next question is going to be, when is the next workshop? All right. Yep. Okay. We're planning something for Lausanne next year. That will be at the EPFL campus, and there's accommodation available on site, which is a low-cost accommodation, and it's possible to stay there, and that will be organized probably in conjunction with a colloquium or a symposium or something like that. So you'll be able to attend both. So that would normally last about a week, and probably you'll be able to cover, say, 5 or 6 modules during that, as well as attending the symposium. That's going to be probably in September next year. I'm hoping we might be able to get back to organizing things in the United States. That hasn't been possible for a while. If you look at the date of the last one, you can probably guess why. We've been having, how can I put this politely, knowing that we're being recorded? We've been having some practical difficulties with people getting into the United States, with practical difficulties with visas and travel and so on. It hasn't been a particularly favorable environment. I'm hoping that things might change. There's good reason to be optimistic about that. So we might have some classes organized in the United States. We've been working with Ecuador, trying to organize some classes in Quito in Spanish. We have a group of trainers there who are ready to go. But I don't know if you remember, but not so long ago, they had some political unrest in Ecuador, which actually that scotched our plans. We had to postpone our training program there, but I'm hoping we'll be able to get that back on the rails and organize something fairly soon. And of course, if you've got an idea that maybe something could be hosted in your country, in your institution, then let's talk about it. I'd be very, very willing to get something rolling wherever you are, to meet your needs, meet your requirements. And it's as Maya was saying, it's not an incredibly difficult thing to do. We've got a lot of experience now organizing these workshops. We know exactly what's needed, how much it costs, what the problems are that you're likely to encounter. So we can make things as easy as possible for you by providing with a lot of support to make it happen.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Thank you. Just one last question that I'd like to know: is there an office in Lausanne that someone can go and check on either programs, materials, documentation personally in case they're there at the moment, or is there some sort of assistance that we can perhaps ask for in Lausanne?
If you are in Lausanne, if somebody comes to Lausanne, I will be delighted to meet with you. But there isn't an office. We don't have office space. This is very much a virtual organization, and we work where we are. However, if you go to Paris, you can visit ICOM, and the ICOM offices, they do have a documentation center, and there you can definitely get help and assistance. And there's a lot of documentation available at the ICOM documentation center. So there are people, yes, that's a place to go where you can find some help and assistance. But a lot of our material is actually available. You know, we can. There are things that we can send to you. So if you have questions or specific problems, you know, get in touch with somebody in CIDOC or with me, and you know, we can send you material or put you in touch with people who can answer questions that you might have.
Yeah, thank you. Very kind. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions about anything? Yeah, I can see there's one in the chat about the Lausanne training. Is it in French or English? Last time, actually, I planned to do it in both French and English. And as it turned out, everybody who turned up was English speaking. And so we decided to do it in English. However, we have all the material available in French, and we're happy to do things in both or either language. Occasionally, we've tried doing things with simultaneous translation, and that sort of works. It's not ideal. We did this in Brazil. We had most of the training in Portuguese, but some was available only in English because we didn't have trainers who were able to do the training in Portuguese at that point, and so we did some in English with simultaneous translation, and that worked reasonably well. It was okay. So Lausanne workshop would be bilingual or in simultaneous French and English, depending on the people who turn up. It was Laura who was asking that. Does anybody else have any questions, something you'd like to know about? Seems that there aren't any more questions at the moment. If anybody has questions later on, please do feel free to get in touch with me. You can send me a message directly. Remember my email, it's my name basically, nicholas@crofts.ch. CH is for Switzerland, by the way. It's you might not be the two-letter abbreviation you were thinking of, but that's because it's Latin. Confederatio Helvetica. So I will ask you something. If you're going to look at this online material, and please feel free to pass this link to anybody else who's attending the conference. I'll try to make sure that it's available somewhere on the conference website so that everybody can find it. I'd be very grateful if when you're looking at this material, if you could give us some feedback. And what I'd like to know is if you have any technical problems, if you find anything that doesn't work, so any sort of technical glitches or things that go wrong, that would be really very helpful. But more than that, I'd like to know, whether you think the material is useful, whether it's directly useful to you or you think it would be useful to somebody else. or anything that you think, any comments you have about things that you think could be improved, things that don't make sense, or things that you might even disagree with. We're very, very interested to know. Anyway, any comments you have that might help us improve the material, they're very, very welcome. And we're doing our best to improve this and make it as good as possible for everybody, everybody concerned. Has anybody got any other comments or questions? Laura, this material is from the Proficiency program. Yes, everything actually can be used for the Proficiency program. These modules are examples of the training material, and the Proficiency, to get the Proficiency certification, you would take some of these modules plus others, depending on what your particular interest is. I should mention perhaps that you're not at all obliged to do the Proficiency program. We have people who are interested in just taking one specific module because they have a vocational need. For instance, there is a module on barcoding, for example. And if you're setting up a barcoding system, then maybe you'd like to take a look at that. There's a module, for example, another example on 3D modeling, how to scan and scan objects and produce 3D models using your phone or whatever. And if you've got a particular need such as that, then maybe you just want to do that module. So it's not an obligation to do the Proficiency program. You can take specific modules, individual modules, and just find the things that you need specifically. A little bit like rummaging through the box of Lego pieces, looking for that particular Lego piece that you need to complete the thing that you're making. So I'll ask in French. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions? Est-ce que quelqu'un a quelque chose? Il y a une question un sujet que vous aimeriez que j'aborde? Any other? Or possibly in Spanish? Well, I think if there aren't any more questions at the moment, it's coming up to 8 o'clock. I suppose we've had enough time to go through everything. As I said, if you have more questions later on, please, feel free to drop me a line. Thank you very much for listening. It's been, I'm very pleased that there are so many people here. And do think seriously about whether you'd like to organize a training event in your part of the world. And we'll be very happy to talk about that, or whether you'd like to do the training or author some material, or just sit down and take some of the training material. And take a look on the CIDOC website, and that'll give you an idea of the full area of everything that's available. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I suppose we'll close up now.